I stood in the marble lobby of Prestige Financial with my lawyer, holding the deed to my parents' house. My sister Vanessa's last text still glowed on my phone. "Good luck with your little laptop problem, loser." She had no idea what was coming. 3 months earlier, I was sleeping in my studio apartment in Miami's Wynwood district when the smell of smoke jerked me awake. Flames were already crawling up the wall near the electrical panel. I grabbed my phone and ran for the fire escape, but the metal stairs were slick from the rain. My foot slipped on the 3rd step, and I went down hard. The crack when my leg hit the edge echoed in my ears even louder than the fire alarm. The firefighters got there in time to save the building, but my apartment was destroyed. Everything I owned for my graphic design business, my MacBook Pro, my Wacom Cintiq tablet, my backup drives with 5 years of client work, all my Adobe subscriptions and design software gone. The building's insurance covered the structure, but my renter's insurance had a $5,000 deductible I couldn't afford. I needed $4,200 immediately to replace my equipment. I had 3 major client deadlines in 2 weeks. Without my tools, I was done. I called my parents from the hospital while a nurse wrapped my swollen leg. Mom answered on the 4th ring. "Elena, do you know what time it is?" "Mom, there was a fire. I'm at Jackson Memorial. I lost everything. My laptop, my tablet, all my work equipment. I have clients waiting and—" "Oh, honey, that's terrible. But you know your father and I are stretched thin right now. We just made a significant investment in Vanessa's future." My stomach dropped. "What kind of investment?" "Well, she's really building her brand as an influencer. She needed a vehicle that matches her aesthetic, so we got her the new Tesla Model X, the white one, with the cream interior. It was $95,000, but her image is everything in her line of work." I stared at the peeling paint on the hospital wall. "You spent $95,000 on a car for Vanessa, but you can't help me with $4,200 to save my actual career?" "Elena, don't be dramatic. You can use the computers at the public library. Lots of people work that way." "Mom, I have professional software licenses, client files, hardware requirements." "Then maybe this is a good opportunity to reconsider your career choice. Freelancing was always risky, sweetheart. This is just life teaching you to be more careful." My dad got on the line. "Your mother's right, Pumpkin. We can't keep bailing you out. You're 28 years old. Besides, didn't you back up your files to the cloud? That's free, isn't it? The cloud doesn't replace my laptop or my drawing tablet. Dad, I literally can't work without." "I'm sure you'll figure something out. You always do. Now your mother and I need to get back to sleep. We're taking Vanessa to test drive the Tesla tomorrow. She wants to make sure the color is right for her Instagram grid." The line went dead. I sat there in the emergency room, still smelling like smoke, my leg throbbing, staring at my phone. The doctor came back with x-rays. Fractured tibia. I needed surgery to set it properly, or it would heal crooked and I'd walk with a permanent limp. The surgery cost $3,500 that my insurance wouldn't fully cover. "You have about 2 weeks to decide," the doctor said. "After that, the bone will start healing in the wrong position." I chose my career over my leg. I used the $800 I had in savings to buy a used laptop and a basic tablet. I could barely walk, but I could work. I'd deal with limping for the rest of my life. My little brother Marco showed up at the hospital before I was discharged. He was 22, working as a barista at a trendy coffee shop in Coral Gables while taking online classes for his music production degree. His eyes were red. "Sis, I heard about the fire, Mom told me. Are you okay?" I showed him my temporary walking boot. "I'll be fine." "What about your equipment? Your business?" "I got the basics. I'll make it work." Marco disappeared into the hallway. 10 minutes later, he came back and pressed an envelope into my hand. Inside was $800 in cash. "Marco, what is this?" "I sold my guitars. The Gibson that Grandpa left me. My Fender. My practice amp. All of it. Guy on Craigslist took everything." My heart stopped. "You didn't." "Marco, that Gibson was—" "Guitars can be replaced." His voice cracked. "My sister's career can't. And I'm not letting you limp for the rest of your life because our parents are too busy playing favorites." I started crying. Not polite tears, ugly, choking sobs. The nurse had to bring me tissues. Marco hugged me. Get the surgery, Elena. Get your equipment. I believe in you. That $800 let me get the surgery and upgrade to a mid-range laptop. My leg would heal properly. I could work again. My broke little brother, who lived in a shared apartment and ate ramen 4 nights a week, had done more for me than my parents ever had. I was still recovering when I got the email that changed everything. Dear Miss Martinez, I am writing to inform you that your great-aunt Rosa Delgado has passed away. As per her will, you are the sole beneficiary of her property located at 847 Northwest 2nd Avenue, Miami, FL. Please contact our office to arrange transfer of the deed. I had memories of Aunt Rosa, Dad's aunt who never married, who lived in a tiny house in Little Havana and made the best pastelitos in Miami. I'd visited her a few times as a kid, but Dad had a falling out with her years ago over something he never explained. I didn't even know she'd died. The property was a vacant lot. Aunt Rosa's house had been torn down years ago due to foundation issues, and she'd never rebuilt. The lot sat there, weeds growing through the cracked pavement, next to a botanica and a domino club. I took photos and posted them on a real estate forum, asking for a valuation estimate. Most people said maybe $50,000, possibly less. Little Havana had been gentrifying, but this particular block was still rough. The lot was small, oddly shaped, and zoned for commercial use only, which limited buyers. That's when Derek called me. Derek was my brother-in-law, married to Vanessa for 3 years. He was a CFO at a mid-sized tech company, always wore expensive suits, always talked about his portfolio and his investment strategy. I'd never liked him. He had this way of explaining things like, "You were stupid, but Vanessa worshipped him." "Elena, I heard about your little inheritance. Congratulations." "Thanks, Derek. Listen, I'm going to do you a favor because we're family. That lot is basically worthless. Commercial zoning in that area is a nightmare. You'd spend more on permits and inspections than you'd make selling it. But I have an investor friend who flips properties in Little Havana. He's willing to take it off your hands for $50,000 cash. Quick, easy, done in a week. $50,000 would replace everything I lost, get me a proper office setup, cover my medical bills, and leave me with a cushion. It sounded perfect. Let me think about it. Don't think too long. My friend has other deals in the pipeline. This is a one-time offer, Elena. You snooze, you lose. My mom called an hour later. Elena, Derek told us about Aunt Rosa's property. That's wonderful, honey. Now, I know you've been struggling since the fire, and your father and I feel just terrible about not being able to help more. But you understand we had to prioritize Vanessa's career opportunities. Mom, you bought her a $95,000 car. Image is everything for influencers, Elena. You wouldn't understand. But that's beside the point. What I'm calling about is this property situation. Derek says his friend is offering $50,000. That's very generous for that part of town. You should take it. I'm still considering. Elena. Her voice went cold. After everything your father and I have done for you, raising you, feeding you, paying for your education, I think you owe us the courtesy of not being difficult about this. Derek is trying to help you. The least you can do is be grateful. How is selling my property being ungrateful to you? Don't take that tone with me. You know what I mean. We're a family. When one of us succeeds, we all succeed. That lot is your opportunity to finally contribute something instead of always being the one who needs help. I hung up before I said something I'd regret. Vanessa texted me that night. Mom told me you're being weird about selling the lot. Derek's friend is doing you a huge favor. Don't screw this up like you screw up everything else. I didn't respond. The next week, Vanessa called with big news. She was opening an art gallery. Well, curating an experiential art space is how she phrased it. Derek was funding it as an investment. They'd rented a warehouse in the design district and planned a grand opening in 6 weeks. And Elena, this is perfect timing because I need your help. What kind of help? Design work. I need a logo, promotional materials, social media graphics, invitation designs, the whole brand identity package. You're a graphic designer, so this is literally your job. Vanessa, I charge $8,000 minimum for a complete brand package. She laughed. I'm not paying you. You're my sister. Plus, think of the exposure. I have 47,000 Instagram followers. When people see your work at my gallery opening, you'll get so many clients. I don't work for exposure. I have bills. Wow. Okay. I ask you for one favor, and this is how you respond. After mom and dad bought you all those art supplies when you were in high school, after they paid for your college, after everything we've done for you, you can't help your own sister's big break? The guilt hit me like a wave. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was being selfish. My parents had paid for college, even though they'd made it clear they thought art school was a waste. And Vanessa was my sister. Fine. Send me the details. You're the best. Oh, and I need everything in 2 weeks. The opening is tight. She hung up before I could object. The brand package turned into a nightmare. Vanessa changed her mind every day. The logo needed to be more ethereal, then more grounded. The color palette went from pastels to jewel tones to earth tones and back to pastels. She rejected 47 different invitation designs. I was working 60-hour weeks, sleeping 4 hours a night, still limping because my leg hadn't fully healed. I sent her invoices anyway. $8,000 for the brand package. $3,000. $500 for the revisions. $2,000. $200 for the rush fee. Total. $13,000. $700. Vanessa called me screaming. Are you insane? I'm not paying this. You've had me working full-time for 3 weeks. This is actually under my normal rate given the scope. I'm your sister. This was supposed to be you supporting me. God, you're so greedy. No wonder you're alone. No wonder your apartment burned down. Karma's real, Elena. I should have walked away. But Mom called next. Elena, Vanessa is in tears. How could you charge your own sister? After all we've sacrificed for this family. I'm so disappointed in you. Your father is too. We didn't raise you to be this selfish. The guilt crushed me. I withdrew the invoices. I kept working. The gallery opening was scheduled for a Friday night. 3 days before, I was at the warehouse helping with the setup. My leg was killing me. I'd been on my feet for 8 hours. Vanessa was barking orders at the caterers while Derek stood in the corner on his phone. I needed to use the bathroom. The main one was occupied, so I went to the back office. As I approached, I heard Derek's voice through the thin wall. No, trust me, that lot is worth way more than $50,000. I had it appraised privately. The whole block is about to flip. The city just approved a development plan for Little Havana Arts District. Luxury condos, galleries, boutique hotels. That location is prime waterfront access to the Miami River. My guy at the zoning office says developers are ready to pay $2.3 million for that exact lot. My blood ran cold. Yeah, I told her it's worthless. She's too dumb to check. Once she signs, we flip it to the developer, split the profit 50-50. That's over $1 million each. Yeah, her parents are on board. They think she owes the family. Vanessa doesn't know the real numbers. She thinks I'm doing this out of kindness. You know how she is, she believes whatever I tell her. He laughed. Actually laughed. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. I turned on the voice recorder and held it near the wall. The best part is Elena's so desperate for their approval, she'll do anything. She's been working on this gallery for free because Mommy and Daddy guilt-tripped her. It's pathetic. No, she won't figure it out. She's a broke artist living in a box. She doesn't understand real estate. Yeah, after we close on the lot, I'm done pretending to be nice. Let her limp around doing her little designs. We'll be millionaires. I recorded 4 more minutes. Derek discussing the developer's name, the timeline, the exact profit split, even the offshore account where he planned to hide the money from the IRS. He mentioned using company funds from his tech firm to finance his end of the deal, corporate embezzlement. I had everything. I left the warehouse without saying goodbye. I went straight to a lawyer's office, not a cheap one, but the best real estate attorney in Miami that I could find. I paid her $500 just for a consultation using money I'd earmarked for rent. She listened to the recording. Her eyes went wide. Miss Martinez, this is fraud. Attempted fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and possibly embezzlement. Do not sign anything. Do you still have the deed? Yes. Good. We're going to need to move fast. I'll file an injunction blocking any sale of the property. We'll also need to contact the SEC about the embezzlement claims, and I strongly suggest we reach out to the developer directly. They'd rather work with you than get tangled in a fraud investigation. How much will this cost? For a case this clear-cut? I'll take it on contingency. If we win, and we will, I get 15% of the settlement or sale price. Standard contract. I signed. The next day, my lawyer filed the injunction. She also sent cease and desist letters to Derek, his investor friend, and my parents, since they'd been pressuring me to sell. Then she contacted the developer Derek had mentioned in the recording. Turns out the developer was legitimate, a company that specialized in ethical urban renewal, working with community stakeholders. They were horrified to learn about Derek's scheme. They offered me $2.1 million for the lot, plus 30% equity in the Little Havana Arts District project if I wanted to stay involved as a community stakeholder. I accepted the equity deal. It meant slightly less cash up front, but it meant I'd have a say in how my great-aunt's neighborhood developed. Aunt Rosa would have liked that. Friday night arrived. Vanessa's gallery opening. I wasn't invited anymore. She'd uninvited me via text after my lawyer sent the cease and desist. You're trying to sabotage my big night. Stay away. I showed up anyway. The warehouse was packed. Influencers, local press, art collectors, everyone Vanessa had courted for months. She decorated the space beautifully, I had to admit. My designs looked good, printed large on the walls. The logo I'd created was everywhere. Vanessa was holding court near the bar, wearing a designer dress, laughing with her followers. Derek stood beside her in his $3,000 suit. My parents were there too, dressed like they were attending a gala at the Perez Art Museum. Mom saw me first. "Elena, what are you doing here?" Vanessa said. "I need to make an announcement." "Absolutely not. This is your sister's night. Don't you dare make a scene." I walked to the center of the gallery. Someone had set up a microphone for toasts. I picked it up. The room went quiet. "Hi everyone. I'm Elena Martinez, Vanessa's sister. I designed all the branding you see tonight, the logo, the invitations, the promotional materials. I did it for free because family helps family, right?" Vanessa's face went white. "Elena, stop. I also recently inherited property in Little Havana from my great-aunt Rosa. Some of you might know that neighborhood is about to undergo major development. My brother-in-law Derek," I pointed at him, "told me the lot was worthless. He offered to help me sell it through a friend for $50,000. Very generous, right?" Derek started moving toward me. My lawyer stepped out from the crowd and held up her hand. He froze. "But here's the thing. I recorded Derek on the phone discussing how he planned to defraud me. The lot isn't worth $50,000. It's worth $2.3 million. He was going to buy it from me at the fake low price, then immediately flip it to a developer and pocket over $1 million. He even planned to use embezzled funds from his company to finance his end." The room erupted. Phones came out. People started recording. I have the audio. I've already turned it over to the SEC and to Derek's employer. I've also sold the property legitimately to the actual developer for $2.1 million plus equity in the Arts District project. Vanessa grabbed the microphone from me. "You're lying. You're just jealous because Mom and Dad bought you a $95,000 Tesla but wouldn't give me $4,200 to replace my work equipment after my apartment burned down? Because you made me work 60-hour weeks for free while my leg was still healing from a fracture? Because our parents pressured me to sell my inheritance for pennies so your husband could get rich?" Mom tried to speak. "Elena, we didn't know about Derek's. You knew you were pressuring me to sell. You knew Derek was involved. You told me I owed the family. You said I needed to contribute for once instead of always being the one who needs help." My voice broke. I needed help. I needed $4,200. Marco gave me $800 from selling his guitars. His guitars, Mom, the Gibson that Grandpa left him. He sold his most precious possession to save me. He's 22 years old and makes $12 an hour, and he did more for me than you've ever done. I turned to the crowd. "I'm sorry to ruin the party, but I thought you should know what kind of people you're celebrating tonight." I dropped the microphone. The feedback screeched through the speakers. My lawyer and I walked out. Behind us, the gallery descended into chaos. Vanessa was screaming. Derek was trying to leave, but people were blocking him, asking questions. Someone from Miami New Times was already typing on their phone. The story broke online before we'd even left the parking lot. Tech CFO, embroiled in real estate fraud scheme. By morning, it was everywhere. Local news, financial blogs, even a segment on a national morning show about millennial fraud. Derek was fired within 48 hours. His company launched a full audit and found he'd embezzled over $300,000 to fund his real estate flips. Criminal charges followed. Last I heard, he was looking at 18 months in federal prison. Vanessa's influencer career imploded. Brands dropped her. Her followers abandoned her. She had to sell the Tesla to pay legal bills and debts. The gallery closed before it ever officially opened. My parents' retirement savings took a hit too. They'd co-signed on some of Derek's investment opportunities. As for me, I used part of the money from the lot sale to buy Marco a full music production studio setup in a nice apartment in Coconut Grove. I paid for the rest of his tuition at the University of Miami. He cried when I handed him the keys. "Sis, this is too much. You sold Grandpa's guitar for me. This doesn't even come close to repaying that." I also started my own design firm, specializing in affordable branding for small businesses and nonprofits. The publicity from the scandal local designer exposes family fraud brought me more clients than I could handle. I hired 2 junior designers within 3 months. My leg healed perfectly. No limp. I can walk, run, dance. Sometimes I still can't believe I almost gave that up. 6 months after the gallery incident, my mom called. "Elena, sweetheart, your father and I were hoping we could talk. Maybe meet for coffee?" "Why?" "We've had time to reflect. We realize we made mistakes. We were wrong to prioritize Vanessa the way we did. We were wrong about Derek. We should have helped you when you needed us." "You should have. We'd like to make it right. Maybe we could be involved in your new business? Your father has marketing experience, and I've always been good with people. We could help you grow." I watched the palm trees sway outside my office window, my actual office, with a water view and everything. "Mom, when I was sleeping in a hospital bed, smelling like smoke, with a broken leg and no way to work, you told me to use the library computers. You said losing my equipment would teach me to be more careful. You spent $95,000 on Vanessa's car and couldn't spare $4,200 to save my career." "Honey," we explained, "Marco gave me everything he had. He's never asked for anything in return. He doesn't call me asking to be involved in my success. He just loves me. That's what family does." "So you're saying—" "I'm saying I already have family. I have Marco. I have my team. I have Aunt Rosa's legacy. I don't need you." I hung up and blocked the number. Last week, Marco's first album dropped. He's a music producer now, working with artists all over Miami. In the liner notes, he wrote, "To Elena, who believed in me when I only had guitars, and who taught me that real legacy isn't what people leave you, it's who stands with you when you have nothing." I framed it and hung it in my office, right next to the deed to my 30% stake in the Little Havana Arts District. Vanessa tried to text me a few months ago. "I see you're doing well. Happy for you." I didn't respond. Some people think I should forgive my parents. That family is family, and everyone makes mistakes. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm too harsh. But I remember sitting in that hospital, being told I'd limp forever, choosing my career over my body because I couldn't afford both. I remember my mother's voice saying a limp would teach me responsibility. I remember Vanessa laughing, telling me I'd manage. And I remember Marco walking in with $800 and tears in his eyes, having sold the last piece of our grandfather he had left. That's when I learned what legacy really means. It's not money. It's not property. It's not even blood. It's who sells their guitars so you can walk. Everything else is just noise.